Welcome to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, a broker and owner over here at Register Real Estate Advisors. And every week we bring you news and information you can use on all of your real estate transactions. Lots of real estate transactions happening right now around the Houston market. Lots of great things going on. We're excited about it. Going into spring is going to be great this year. And if you're looking to buy or sell your home, it's a great market to do it. Right now, I want to talk about something, that most of us face, unless you just live out in the country. You pretty much have either a condo association if you live in a condo or a homeowners association if you're living in a community, whether it's a master plan community or not. So we've got some great information coming up for you today. Before we get started, though, I want to give you the call-in number because if you've got questions, I want you to call us. A lot of people have issues with their homeowners association. Give us a call if you've got questions you want us to answer. 281-882-8088. 281-882-8088. We'll be happy to answer your questions right here on the show every week at 11 o'clock. Also, you can find us on Facebook and at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. So if you're in the car and you're about to go somewhere and you think, I'm not going to be able to hear the whole thing, you can go to HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and watch the videos because we do video record every segment. Okay, let's get started. I have got Chris Archambault here. I know your name was really hard, so I'm going to get that one over with right from the beginning. So Chris is an attorney who's a member of the Community Associations Institute, and you play a vital role because there are a lot of legalities that go on with the HOAs. So I'm glad you're here, and we'll get to talk to you. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right. We've also got here with us today Margey Meyer, and Margey is a member of the Community Associations Institute and also a professional community association manager. She teaches managers best practices in managing community associations, whether it's a condo association or a homeowners association. So thanks so much for coming in because I know you've got a lot of great information for us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You know, most places that you move to around the city of Houston have got some kind of association.
That's correct. In fact, nationally, almost 80%, or probably more than that now, 80% of all new residential construction is in a homeowners association.
So let's talk about what you guys do, because you're not a manager. You're not a homeowners association management company. So I want to make that clear. Tell me what you guys do, who you are, and what you do.
Well, the Community Associations Institute is composed of volunteers around the country and in several Dubai, Mexico, some other countries as well, where we educate both managers and board members as to how to be the best leaders that they can be for their community association.
So you guys meet monthly here in Houston, right?
Right. The CAI chapter, Houston chapter, has a monthly education program that is related to something that has to do with managing, operating, leading a community association.
Would you say that the majority of homeowners associations out there send their leadership crew to you guys every month, or would you say the majority don't?
Oh, I wish I could say they do, but there are self-managed associations, and then there are associations that are managed by a professional manager. And a lot of them don't know about the Community Associations Institute.
Well, we're telling them today, girl.
Well,
we're putting it out there today.
Let's get the word out, because the membership is just a nominal fee.
Yeah.
The monthly meetings are nominal, but they will be inundated with wonderful, voluminous material, both from the local chapter and from national.
You know, I was amazed that the board members of a neighborhood that I live in, that's only like 850 people. But I mean, that's a lot of people, right? I mean, if you're a board member of 850 people in a community that you're managing, you should know about this association, and you should for sure be a part of it. And if you're not a part of it, the management company that manages you should be telling you about it, and they should be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And so it surprises me that there are so many of these communities out there that don't know about you guys and all the wonderful services you're providing and the education component that you're providing.
Well, we appreciate so much you're letting us let your listeners know all about us, because as you said, if you're responsible for multi-million dollars in real estate, you need to know the laws. You need to know best practices in managing that property.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the things that you hear most commonly at the meetings and when you're doing the trainings. What are some of those issues that come up that you're hearing about that people need help with?
Well, we have an HOA hotline that's free for people who just just go to our website and click on the HOA hotline.
Okay.
And most of the questions that we get start with, can my board, and the answer is mostly you've got to look at your governing documents.
Right.
There are state statutes that impact condominiums and planned communities, but it's the governing documents that are really the Bible for that community because they're going to differ from each community. So you need to know what your association's governing documents say about whether the board can do this or must do this or exactly how it's supposed to be structured, when there are supposed to be meetings, who can attend the meetings, how much can they charge, how much can they increase the assessments, how can they enforce the governing documents, can they impose penalties, can they foreclose on my home?
Right.
All that's going to be in the governing documents.
I work with buyers a lot, and they get those deed restrictions ahead of time before the closing. And how many of them actually read them?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest issues is very many don't. They tend to overlook them. And even when they've been living in the community for a while, they still tend to ignore them. And unfortunately, the end result is high HOA fees, and you're getting a lot of violations because people are just unaware of what the restrictions actually say. In my experience, it's been not so much what the board can do and whether they can do this, it's what can the homeowner do? What is the homeowner allowed to do? And usually they run afoul of one of the restrictions without even knowing that the restrictions were there.
Yeah.
So, there is a way to, I think, counter that, and that is the association can proactively offer to have town hall meetings where they go over the governing documents, or maybe in the newsletter or on the website once a week, once a month, they highlight a different component of the documents that says you can do this or you can't do that.
I think they need to do it by video. Because I'm all into video. We video every segment. We video everything. I think it needs to be video because nobody has time to read all that stuff.
You're absolutely
So
right.
they could do video recaps of the different sections that are important, about the lawn care and how you want to paint your house and what to do when you want to put in a swing set to make sure it's in guidelines and how do you put in a pool. Just the things that you see month after month after month that are important that everybody needs to know, but you don't need to know it until you need to know it. And when you need to know it, you want to be able to find it and get it, right? And, you don't have to dig through all those documents. So I really wish that they would start putting them on video.
What a great idea. And I think that's something that we at CAI can start promoting for folks because it's so easy now. All you need is a smartphone, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very easy.
What a great idea.
I think that's what we need. Okay, let's talk about some of the questions that I've heard from consumers, and I'm sure that you have too. What do you do when your neighbor's dog won't quit barking at 5 a.m.?
Well, that's a very popular issue, and it's one of those 3 hot topic issues that I think almost every association and every neighborhood has. What do you do when the dog's barking in the middle of the night? Well, a lot of the times the problem is going to be there's not much. It's actually a neighbor-to-neighbor a and even though a neighborhood might have a homeowners association, and you can make them aware of it, their authority may be very limited in that aspect. You can report them as a nuisance for noise violations, but as far as the HOA is concerned, there's very few remedies that you can get that the HOA can enforce on them.
Yeah, and it's funny, I had Judge Jay Carahan on last year, back in 2014. He was saying that you cannot poison your neighbor's dog.
No, definitely stop short of doing that.
You can go, that's you go to jail for that. It's kind of you don't do that.
We would like to see a lot of it
find some resolution among yourselves.
Talking to the neighbor. That's always going to be the best way to handle it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's usually the exception, not the rule. But
sometimes it might mean when the neighbors are just really clashing, they don't want the confrontation, it may be worthwhile to bring in a dispute resolver, just an impartial third party.
Is that something the board can do for them?
They can bring in they can bring in an outside person. They can bring in the attorney. They can bring in a mediator. They can just somebody who doesn't have the emotional baggage that goes with it, who can hear both sides and just make some suggestions on how they can resolve it.
Isn't it important that the attorney that either the management company or that the board chooses is someone who knows about all of these laws that deal with the homeowners association, someone who's like yourself, is a member of the association?
Well, and I think that's the most difficult part is because the people running your association on the board of directors are just like you and me. I mean, they're everyday people who have jobs, 9 to 5.
They don't necessarily have any training.
Exactly. They don't have training, and they're volunteering their free time for the betterment of the community.
Right.
And so that's why CAI is so great, because that's the best avenue to get that education so that people are more aware of how to handle these things when they come up.
And if I may, I saw a set of governing documents that were written by a non-association attorney, and it's an attorney who is not familiar with community associations. And those governing documents, actually he borrowed them from a community that was 20 years old. Oh, wow. And they were so outdated. They didn't have up-to-date law. They didn't have best practices.
That's a problem.
So you really need to find attorneys who know community association law.
All right, Margey Meyer and Chris Archambault. We'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio, and we'll continue this conversation. If you've got a problem with something in your neighborhood, give us a call, 281-882-8088. We'll find some resolution for you here on Houston Real Estate Radio.